this and I haven't even started the lecture. Okay, guys. The next hour, what we're about to do is, I'm going to answer the simple question of why. Why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I arrived to do what I'm doing. Now, in order for me to answer this question, I need to go back to the day I was born. Because I was born in 1985 in the city of Haifa. And Haifa is the largest mixed city in Israel. I've never saw so much energy for the city of Haifa. So born in the largest mixed city in Israel. You have Christians, you have Muslims, you have Druze, you have Jews, of course. The Haddad is part of the Christian, of the Muslim community, and of course the Baha'i. So there are so many different cultures in that city. At age 3, I moved with my parents to Nazareth. Up until a few years ago, Nazareth was the largest Arab city in Israel. Today, by the way, it's Rahat. Rahat, in the south. Rahat is also the largest Arab city by population and territory. Okay? Yep, 100%. Remember, I only talk facts. If you want to dispute that, you are more than welcome. Yalla, go ahead. Please. I'm waiting. Who is going to debate me? Anyway, so why I'm telling you about Haifa and why I'm telling you about Nazareth? Now, besides the education and the values that I received from my parents, the city of Nazareth and the city of Haifa affected a lot of my personality. I mean, think about it. I grew up in Nazareth. I studied in Arabic, that's my mother tongue language. Of course, we studied English and Hebrew. And think the fact that my parents were extra, they really wanted me to know Hebrew very well, and they really wanted me to know English very well. So what they did is, out of the 7 days a week, 5 days we spoke in Arabic, in our mother tongue language. 1 day we spoke in Hebrew, and 1 day we spoke in English. If I come to my parents and I ask them, or I tell them that I want something in Arabic, and it was a Hebrew day or English day, my mom would just totally ignore me and tell me it out. So that's how I speak in my language. That's why if a lot of people ask me, how is your Hebrew so good? How is your English so good? Well, obviously reading and watching videos and movies and the idea of how my parents did that. So any of those young parents or future parents, here's a tip for you guys in terms of language. And we will talk about language because language is an important tool. We will come to that. We will come to talk about the tools that bridge gaps between cultures, between communities, okay? But before we discuss that, so I found myself always finishing school, arriving home, doing my homework as fast as possible, otherwise my mom would not allow me to leave my home. And the reason why I wanted to do my homework very fast is because I was waiting to go from Nazareth to Haifa to play what you call it, guys, soccer, I call it football. Now, honestly, I participated in a debate about football or soccer, and it was way worse than the Palestinian-Israeli. And just to be clear, when you play 90% of the time with your hands, you can't call it football, I'm sorry. So the second, I'm gonna call soccer football, okay? So I used to play football. And where did I play football? In a neighborhood called Kiryat El-Ezer in Haifa. Yeah. So Kiryat El-Ezer, for those who are from the north, and for those who are familiar with football, they know that back in the days there was a football stadium called Kiryat El-Ezer, and Maccabi and of course Haifa played there. That stadium is not there anymore. But the playground where we played football together, the neighborhood one, it still exists until today. And who played football there? Jews, Arabs, Christians, Muslims, Druze. We were all together. That's how we played, and that's what we were. And do you think we cared that this guy is a Jew and this guy is an Arab? We didn't care. Drop the ball in there and let's play football. That's what we wanted to do. And then step by step, the friendship became from just playing football to going out and drinking together and visiting each other's families, including holidays. It was very important for us. Remember when I started talking about how can we bridge gaps between communities? It's knowing the culture and the traditions of each other. It's a tool that helps us to bridge the gaps. Just like, by the way, language, which I will talk about it in just a few minutes. But the fact is that when there was Christmas, then the Christian friends would invite the Jews, the Muslims, and the Druze to come and see the tradition, the culture of our holiday. And it was Eid al-Adha, then the Muslims and the Druze would invite the Jews or the Christians. And of course, when it was Passover, then a lot of the Jewish friends would have invited the Arab friends, whether they were Muslims, Christians, or Druze, to a Passover dinner. Now, we did not mix between the cultures and the traditions. We didn't want that. We just wanted to get to know the culture and the traditions of each other. And the fact that I know a lot about the Jewish community, about the Muslim community, about the Druze community, about the Muslim and the Christian community, it allows me to bridge gaps, allows me also to understand the other side, allows me to look at all the sides and only then bring it to what I call it to the middle line, to the best solution there is based on my opinion. But because I know the tradition, the culture, it allows me, in fact, further than that, I'm telling you, the tool that we can also add is the language. I believe when it comes to Israelis, everyone who is an Arab in Israel must learn and know Hebrew, and every Jew in Israel must know and learn Arabic. Point. There is no other alternative. And by the way, I can give you 3 good reasons, and I don't care which one is first or which was the last. You pick which one is important than the other. But the 3 important reasons why every Jew in Israel must learn Arabic goes back, for instance, to the first reason, the 7th of October. The 7th of October is the evidence that why it's necessary for everyone to learn Arabic. I mean, with all due respect, what can we do? Our enemies, they don't speak Swedish, they speak Arabic. That's the fact, okay? Now, why it's important? Because I can give you an idea, a story that happened on the 7th of October. On the 7th of October, terrorists invaded Israel. They went to some of the towns in the south of Israel. At a specific town, a terrorist cell was captured by the IDF. But there was not even one single IDF soldier who speaks Arabic. So they're trying to interrogate the terrorists that they just captured, because we know that there's another cell of terrorists inside the kibbutz, inside the town. So what we do, the terrorists won't speak Hebrew, even if they know they will not speak, okay? And there's no one to speak with them in Arabic. So there's no way to find out where is the other terrorist hiding in the town. Lucky for us, and I'm saying lucky for us because of that, life of Israelis, both civilians and soldiers, were saved. Lucky for us, one of the residents of that kibbutz, her name is Nisreen Yoseph. And Nisreen Yoseph is an Israeli hero. Now leave the fact that she choked one of the terrorists and slammed one of them. And I completely envy her. But she actually interrogated the terrorist, and through deception and through smooth talking, she managed to find out where are the other terrorists in the same kibbutz. Because of that intel, the IDF managed to capture and eliminate the terrorists who were in the kibbutz. Imagine if Nisreen Yosef wasn't there. We should have not arrived to a position where IDF soldiers are waiting for someone to translate them in order to know where are the terrorists. That's why, reason number 1, everyone in Israel should learn Arabic. Now, the second reason is Abraham Accords. I mean, the Abraham Accords opened an opportunity to do business. Good business. And don't you dare think because of the 7th of October, the relationship between the Emirates and Bahrain is going down. No, guys. In fact, the projects are getting more and more, and the budget is getting higher and higher. And I promise you, of course you will still succeed and do business, even if you don't know Arabic. But if you want a better deal, no Arabic. I promise you. And by the way, how do I know that? It actually leads me to reason number 1. Reason number 1, 20% of the population in Israel speaks Arabic as a mother tongue language. I am one of them. When a Jew comes to me in Nazareth and speaks to me in Arabic, I open up. Ahlan wa sahlan, habibi, ta'al. And not only that, but it's just not me. It's more and more, I see it all over. You know, I sat down in a shawarma place. One of the best in Nazareth, Allah Hadi. So if you come to Nazareth, go there. Tell him I sent you, he will give you a discount. Anyway, so I'm sitting down and I know the owner, and of course, you know, every time I come, I order the gate with the shawarma. He spoils me, you know, he puts a lot of meat. Okay, so I'm sitting down. One day, I saw a Jewish family comes to the same place where the shawarma is. So the father knows Arabic very well, and he's speaking to the guy at the counter in Arabic. Wallahi, I promise you, he put more shawarma than me. I don't like, I tell him what? Because he knows Arabic. I say, Habibi, he knows Arabic. We like this. That is the truth. But further than that, let me give you another example that I'm going to tell that example in a little bit of a humor, but there's nothing funny about it, honestly. I remember, but keep in mind, I said that I always look at all the signs, okay? Way before I act, way before I arrive to any conclusion. Now, why I'm saying this, in just a few minutes you will understand, a few seconds you will understand exactly why I'm telling you that I look at all the signs. The story that I'm telling you about, it happened during 2002, 2003. It was in the midst of the second intifada. Intifada is a violent uprising. It was the first intifada, and then the second intifada that started in the early 2000s. And buses were blown up in Israel. In the Sheva, in Haifa, in Tel Aviv, in Afula, in Jerusalem. And to go back to what I said, the people who blown up the buses didn't speak Swedish, they speak Arabic. So I understand the concern. Now, saying all this, let me tell you the story. Again, it was in the midst of the intifada. I got on the bus in Haifa with my friends. We sat down on the back of the bus almost. In front of us, there was a Jewish kid. Me and my friend obviously speaking in Arabic, talking and talking and talking. At some point, the kid that was in front of us, he turned up, and I saw that he was scared. And he says, "Can I please tell you something?" And I said, "Sure." In Arabic, I said, "Tfaddal," which means, "Go ahead." And he goes, "I'm a little bit scared." I said, "Why?" "No, because I'm listening to you guys speaking in Arabic, and every second I'm waiting for you guys to say Allahu Akbar and bomb the bus." Now remember, there's a reason why I tell the story like this. It is to ease a little bit the atmosphere, but there was nothing funny about it when I was there. But I remember that I told you that I look at all the signs. I understand the kid. I understand where it comes from. But at the same time, I decided also to tell him, you know something crazy? If you knew Arabic, not only you wouldn't have been scared, the entire ride you would have a smile on your face and a sore neck because you would say like, "Oh my God, I really agree with this guy." Because what we talked about, the fact that we went up the bus and the driver smells like he didn't take a shower for 5 days. Or the fact is that 3 benches ahead of us, there was a guy there speaking on his speaker like he's in a protest or I don't know what, instead of being silent. Or the fact that we're stuck on less than a mile for about 45 minutes because of traffic. So the guy turns to me and says like, "Wow, I'm really sorry. I'm really, really sorry." I said, "Don't apologize. Learn Arabic." Now, I don't know if you learned or not, but this is a great example to give you how language can come over obstacles and take down barriers. And this is what I want. The reason why I'm able to speak here, and of course I have some grammar issues in English, and of course even in Hebrew, and sometimes even in Arabic. But the bottom line is that I can manage to bring you my message, and that's why it was important for me to strengthen my English. And that was important for me to speak also Hebrew very well. Because I want to pass my message. And I also want to understand the other side. The more I understand it, the better I can find solutions. And it's the same thing for everyone else. It's not just unique for me. Not just unique for me. Let me give you an example, okay? A few years ago, there was an Arab female student. She was studying in Jordan. Something happened and she jumped out of a really high building and was injured very badly. Now, until these days, we don't know if she jumped or someone pushed her. Nobody knows. But the story is not focusing on what happened to her in terms of whether she jumped or not. The story is that her friends saw her on the lying on the ground, critically injured, yeah, and they rushed her to the hospital. Once the hospital, she's an Arab from Israel, not a citizen of Jordan, and doesn't have any insurance in Jordan. So when they rushed her to the hospital, the staff of the hospitals told her friends, "We will not treat her until you pay 3,000 dinar. 3,000 dinar is about 15,000 shekels, so it's around $3,000 as well, plus minus, a little bit more." So the friend were Arab Israelis as well, and they said, "Listen, please, we will get you the money. Don't worry, just start treating her. She's in critical condition." The hospital refused. "Bring the money first, we'll treat her." They went For 45 minutes, tried to collect 3,000 dinars. They managed to bring it after 45 minutes. By the time they brought the money, she died. Now, here's the thing. If Israeli Jews would have known Arabic, for instance, they would have seen the social media explode in Arabic about this story, where the comments were unbelievable. Because many people ask me, Yoseph, how many people, in your opinion, in the Arab-Israeli society, how many people speak like you? How many people talk about Israel like this? And I would say, if you would have known Arabic, specifically, for instance, at that day, when this story became viral, you would see the vast majority of Arab Israelis commenting on that news with the comment, the same, plus minus the same comment, which is, this is the difference between my country, literally he said my country, an Arab Israeli saying my country. This is the difference between my country, or someone would say this is the difference between the state of Israel to the Jordanians. We first take care of people and treat them first and save their lives, and then ask for money. While the Jordanians first ask for money and then treat the peoples. That's what was said. Now imagine if Jews who knows Arabic would have read this. That would have brought a complete different aspect or realization about the Israeli society. But the thing is, what do we like to translate? We like to translate, kill the Arabs, kill the Jews. That's what we like to translate. That's what we like to share. Share the extremists. That brings more rating. That brings more click bites. I say, imagine for every extreme story, we bring a partnership story. And yes, you listen to me very carefully. I'm not talking about coexisting. In fact, when it comes to describe the relationship between Israeli Arabs and Israeli Jews in Israel, I hate that definition, coexistence. Because in my book, coexistence means like this. I don't tolerate you, you don't tolerate me, you're not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere, we don't have a choice, let's coexist. But the fact is, I like you, you like me, you said that, and we live in partnership. Sharaki, shutfut. Coexistence is a good definition to describe the relationship between the Israelis and the Palestinians, the Israelis and the Jordanians, the Israelis and the Egyptians. Fine. The best thing that I can do for you is to ignore it. For your own sake. When your wife comes, the first thing you would say is, I'm with partnership with him. It's funny because I said I would ignore it, but eventually I didn't. So guys, in all seriousness, and by the way, when we talk about the partnership, you know where the best place to see this partnership? In the hospitals, for instance. You would see an Arab doctor treating a Jewish patient. You would see a Jewish doctor treating an Arab patient. You would see families of Jews and Arabs in the same room together. Now, of course, there are anti-Semites and there are racists. I'm not generalizing everybody. Obviously, there is. We know some of them. But if you go to any hospital, from the south to the north, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Guys, 3.5 years ago, my sister had a baby. After she's done with the birth, she went to this room. In the room, there was another Jewish family there. Once the Jewish family realized that an Arab family is coming to the room to be with them, and after having a baby, they were absolutely happy. You know why? Because they knew that in 15 minutes, the baklawa and knafi are I apologize in advance, because I cannot say the same thing about gefilte fish. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is that this partnership exists, but hold on. This partnership exists, and I'm going to bring you evidence. I don't just like to talk, but I like to back the things that I'm saying with facts. And I'm going to share momentarily those videos with you. The partnership stories that happened from the 7th of October. But you know what? I did not need the 7th of October to know about the shared faith between Jews and Arabs when it comes to the Palestinian terrorism. Before the 7th of October, we had a really rough year where the Arab society lost its finest voice in all the communities. We had Yazan Falah from the Druze community. We had Amir Khouri from the Christian community. And we had Asil Su'aid from the Muslim community. All those three were police officers. All those three, in different occasions, were killed by a Palestinian terrorist. All of those three are Israeli heroes because they tried to save other Israelis from the terror attack. And on the way, they got shot and eliminated. Some of them even managed to, while getting shot, eliminate as well the terrorists. So the shared faith existed way before the 7th of October. And the stories that I can tell you about in the Israeli society is unbelievable. We just need at least 24 hours just to tell you all the partnership stories, not even talk about politics and the conflict. Okay? So from this place, from those things, from this partnership that I saw in my society, and from the fact is that our friends in Haifa, we treated each other first of all as human beings. And because we treated each other as human beings, we felt equal. And because we felt equal, I felt Israeli. And because I felt Israeli, when I arrived at the age of 18, I decided to volunteer the IDF. Now, IDF, not JDF. It's not the Jewish Defense Forces, it's the Israeli Defense Forces. So anyone who asks me, why did I decide to volunteer and serve in the IDF? It's in the name. The IDF protects the entire citizens of Israel, and it doesn't matter whether they are Jews or Arabs. And when Hamas, Hezbollah, or any other organization attack Israel, the 7th of October isn't evident, but way before that, that terrorism had an impact on the Arab society, on the Jewish society, on the Israeli society. So when I entered and served in the IDF and volunteered, I served to save and protect my society. And in my society, you have Jews and Arab, which called the Israeli society. And when I decided to volunteer, just like my friend Mickey said, I decided to volunteer into the best brigade in the IDF, which is the Golani Brigade. And if someone thinks otherwise, by the way, there's a second reason. It's because you speak fast. Here's the fact. The Golani Brigade, the name of the brigade is Brigade Number 1. I rest my case. האמת או שאני צודק? Okay, so I have an answer to every question. Okay, guys. By the way, the second reason why I decided to enlist the Golani Brigade is because, and this one will back me, only crazy people are accepted to Golani. And if you don't think that I'm crazy, wait until the end of this speech. Anyway, here is what gets more interesting. I started my service. A year later, I become a commander. Now, usually when I speak at campuses, my audience is split 3 different groups. Anti-Israelis, pro-Israelis, and 50-50. Those are the gray area. Not pro, not anti. They want to listen to the truth. If you back it up with facts, they're going to actually lean towards you. Those are the usual groups that I see around the campus when I come to speak. At that moment, in the storyline, I stop and I say this sentence. I, as an Arab, was a commander over Jewish soldiers in the IDF. Take that apartheid. Now, the reason why I'm saying it like this is because many times the anti-Israeli clubs use the myth of apartheid. Why I call it the myth of apartheid? Because it does not exist. Now, why so many anti-Israeli clubs using this? Why are they using this definition to describe this? Here's what I do and what I do. You know, my parents taught me that 50% of solving the problem is actually pointing at the problem and knowing the problem. But how can you point at a problem or know the problem when the problem does not exist? You cannot solve a problem that does not exist. And the reason why the anti-Israeli clubs are insisting in calling Israel an apartheid state, because they know it does not exist and there is no solution to a problem that does not exist. And the reason is because this is the only way to maintain the conflict. That's how you preserve it. That's how you keep getting budget. That's how you keep filling your pockets. And if you don't believe me, just look at the lecture of the lawyers of the BDS organizations that fly first class, that they attack flight attendants because they're drunk. Google it. It's on Google. You Google a BDS lawyer attacks a flight attendant on a flight or I don't know what in first class. Wow. I'm telling you, I'm done. When I upgrade myself from economy to economy plus, I'm absolutely happy, you know. They have the ability to fly first class, not bad. But as you see, this is what they want. That's what they don't really want to resolve the problem. Now, apartheid. for those who want a little bit more knowledge about this, it's a regime that was implemented in South Africa. And the whole idea of it is a total separation. It was a total segregation separation between the white race to the black race. What does that mean in life? You wake up in the morning, you want to use the public transportation, you have a line for white people, you have a line for black people, okay? If you go to the hospitals, you have a hospital for white people, you have a hospital for black people. Do you want to try to guess where are the better services? All right, if you want to go to court, you have a white court and you have a black court. And what happens if a black wants to sue someone who's white? Which court they go? Yes, to the white. They result, you know, it's obvious what's going to be the result. Sports, tell that to the rugby player of New Zealand who played against the New Zealand team played against South Africa, and he was not permitted to enter South Africa because he was black. Now, what's happening here in Israel? I wake up in the morning and I want to use the public transportation, okay? I don't know even my driver if it's an Arab or a Jew. Secondly, I don't have a separate line, and of course I can sit wherever I want in the bus, okay? If you want to talk about the hospitals, I just brought you the hospitals as a perfect example of the partnership that exists between Jews and Arabs. When you see Arab doctors treating Jewish patients and Jewish doctors treating Arab patients. In fact, when I was injured, and I will talk about my injury in the word just momentarily, but when I was injured, the best doctors in Nahariya hospitals, Arabs and Jews, saved my life. Okay? Court, we had a judge, a Supreme Court judge by the name of Salim Jubran. And Salim Jubran is an Israeli Arab who sent to prison a Jewish prime minister and a Jewish president for committing crimes. Who told them Moshe Katzab, each one its own crime. But the fact is, an Arab judge was on the team that sent to prison a Jewish prime minister and sent to prison a Jewish president. That itself another evidence that people are trying to hide that exists. You want to talk about sports? Just last August, before the attack, the Israeli football team under 19, we managed to get the 3rd place at the World Cup. It's a huge achievement. The top scorer of this tournament, his name is Anan Khalaili, an Arab Muslim from Haifa, represented Israel. Further than that, when he scored against Brazil and Israel won, when he was interviewed, he was so adorable and so cute. He says, I want to dedicate this goal and this victory to the Israeli people. An Arab Muslim saying those things, like for me, it's not a surprise. But yes, when I say this around the communities around the world, not just in North America, in Europe, in South America, in Africa, people are absolutely surprised with the fact that the Arab is really speaking like this. Now, way before you say, when Yoseph, the Israelis are saying, oh, we're not talking about the apartheid about the Arabs who live in Israel, we're talking about the apartheid in the West Bank in Gaza. Nonsense. Nonsense. It's nonsense because it does not exist. Problems exist in all the territories, including Israel. But they are far away from being actually apartheid. And further than that, UN organizations, plus one of the biggest, most important human rights organization by the name of Amnesty International, in its last report in April 2022, they issued a statement, a report, calling Israel an apartheid from the river to the sea. Now, if you ask those guys, which river, which sea, they have no clue. But they call it apartheid. Now, here is the crazy part. I actually had the honor to debate representatives from the Amnesty International organization. Where it happened at the Irish Parliament. In fact, I am so far the only speaker who came to speak at the Irish Parliament in the last 20 years. I had a speech in the Irish Parliament that was very successful, and because of that, I was asked to come and debate on the Foreign Affairs Committee of the Irish Parliament and debate Amnesty International representatives. I, of course, accepted, I came, and I answered all the questions that also the MPs, the Parliament member that they asked, and also Amnesty International. And by the way, it was aired on live TV, the channel of the Parliament in Ireland. But here's the crazy part. When my turn came to ask a question, I asked one question 6 times. I did not get an answer from Amnesty International. And my question was like this. When you did your report, have you spoken to people like me in Israel? Have you spoken to people like me? Have you spoken to people from the Arab society that serve in the IDF? Have you spoken to Arab Israelis who serve as paramedics or medics, as lawyers, as doctors? Have you asked Arab Israelis who serve in the national service, have you asked Arab Israelis who are serving as the firefighters? Have you asked those? You know what? Even further than that, there's an MP by the name of Mansour Abbas. He is the leader of the Islamic movement, the political Islamic movement. He has 5 seats, which means that over 250,000 of Arab Israelis voted for him. Mansour Abbas, despite the fact that I have a huge ideology gap between me and him, he himself said Israel is many things, but not an apartheid state. So how come so many voices are saying something else than what you guys are saying? So have you spoken to voices like mine? 6 times I asked questions, I did not get any answer. And then I turned to the head of the committee and said, it's strange, I'm answering every question. Yet one question they're not answering. Can you please maybe ask it yourself, and then they will answer. So he forced them to answer the question, and here's the big news. They actually had to admit, and they said that no, they haven't spoken to people like me, and in fact, their report, the entire report of Israel, specifically of the Arab Israelis, is based on 2 unrecognized villages in the south of Israel, which they are less than 3% of the Arab society. They deliberately picked those villages. They based an entire report on those villages that were picked very carefully in order to draw a false information and false picture about Israel and about the Israeli society. Do you understand what happened here? Here's an evidence to the way they lie. They take something, they exaggerated it, they twist the facts, and then they call it an honest report. No, it's not. It's a lie. We need, as much as possible, to make sure to expose their lies. So, that is the myth of the apartheid. The other myth, or the other claim, is the claim of genocide. Israel is committing genocide. Here's the thing, guys. Unfortunately, I say that, but genocide is a simple math problem. Why? Take, for instance, what happened in the Holocaust. Before the Holocaust, there were 9.5 million Jews living in Europe. After the Holocaust, only 3.5 million. Math, 9.5 minus 3.5, and you get 6 million Jews were murdered during the Holocaust. What happened since the creation of the State of Israel? Since 1948, in 1948, in Gaza, there were about 100,000 Arabs living in Gaza. Today, over 2 million. In 1948, there were a couple of hundreds Arabs living in the West. Today, according to the Palestinians, over 3.3 million. And in the Israeli territory, in 1948, there were about 156,000 Arab Israelis, my family among them. Today, we are over 2 million. And in fact, not even one single territory, village, town, whatever you want, there was a decrease in the population. Only increased since 1948. Now, you would say, Yoseph, why are you getting this data? And I'm telling you this. Are you ready? Go to Google and type this. The official statistic Palestinian office. They are the one who's providing the data. So it's not us saying this, it's them saying that, and in fact giving us the proof that genocide does not exist since the creation of Israel, and will not, because we're not doing this. But then, I give you the evidence about the entire conflict, that there is no genocide, and never been done a genocide. But let's go now to the war in Gaza. What's the number that the people, anti-Israeli people are talking all the time? 30,000, 30,000, 30,000. What is missing every time they're saying 30,000? 30,000. The combatants. Now why it's important? Why they know that it's important for them to generalize everybody and not differentiate between innocent people and between terrorists. Now before I answer this question, I just want to tell you, have you heard that 17,000 kids were killed? Listen to this, guys. Kids is anyone under the age of 18. I know for a fact, and it's actually Hamas's fault, yeah? They themselves, when a kid by the age of 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, joined Hamas, yeah? This kid is not a kid. He's a terrorist, okay? A terrorist. Now, if you want to talk about the fact that they are terrorists, and you'd say, but how do you know? It's Hamas. Hamas putting their faces with the Kalashnikov, with their baggage, with everything. They are the one who's exposing them. 14-year-old 7-year-old kids that the West look at them as West, but Hamas says that they are terrorists and they are part of the organization. Now explain to me the logic. There's no logic. People are completely just blind or want to be blind or brainwashed. But that's what another point that we need to talk about. Kids, but further than that, I say, why it's important to talk about how many combatants? Because according to the IDF, from the 30,000 people in Gaza, more than 10,000 terrorists were eliminated by the IDF. Why this number is critical? This number is critical because of what I call the ratio. What is the ratio? Let me explain. After 9/11, the United States and its allies embarked on a war against the Taliban. The bottom line, they managed to eliminate 38,000 terrorists from the Taliban. But on the process, they also killed over 430,000 innocent people. What does that mean? The ratio? For every one dead terrorist, you got 12 dead innocent people. What's the average ratio of the world? 1 to 10. What is the ratio of the IDF? 1 to 2. In an unfair war, and it's an unfair war because the IDF is bound down to every law, international law, when it comes to the war. And when Hamas is a terrorist organization, they don't care about the law. In fact, we know that they are committing war crimes. And we know that they never care. So it's an unfair war. Yet, Hamas are using their people as human shields. We have facts where it goes we entered Gaza. Hamas are hiding among civilians. In fact, in just a few moments, I will show you the video of a Palestinian saying that. Not me. That's the facts that I'm talking about. I'm speaking, but I will show you the video of a Palestinian on Al Jazeera saying that Hamas is hiding among them. And then he says to the journalist, let them go to hell. And at that time, you will see the Al Jazeera reporter is just literally running away and stopping the interview. And the guy on the behind is like, oh, I'm not done talking. You will see it. You will see it. But further than that, they're fighting with civilian clothes. They're not fighting with Hamas clothes. Why? Because they want to be part of the civilians. Because they want to put civilians in danger. They don't care about the life of their own people. The fact is, the more Palestinians are killed, the better for Hamas. The better for Hamas. And that is the ratio, the unprecedented ratio of the IDF, which is one dead terrorist. You have 2 innocent people. This is war, guys. With the circumstances and the conditions, it's an unbelievable conditions, and the IDF managed to do something which deservedly gives them the title of one of the most moral armies in the world. Point. Now, just before we move on, okay, I also want to talk to you about the fact that people sometimes, when I have a debate on the national news, and I say we killed and eliminated more than 10,000 terrorists. Yeah. And the first comeback is, where is your source? Where is your source? And of course my source is from the IDF. And he goes, oh, and I asked, where is your source about the 30,000? He goes, like, from the UN. Okay, where the UN got it? The UN got it from the Ministry of Health in Gaza. Who controls the Ministry of Health in Gaza? Oh, from here, there's a silence. They don't answer. So I always say, you are willing to believe a terrorist organization and not an army or a democratic state. Very interesting. And that's why I tell you time after time. When I come to speak to people like this, I don't expect to change their minds in 45 minutes of lecture and then after that 15 minutes of Q&A. I don't. But what I want to do is, I want to shake them. I want to ask tough questions. I want them after that to ask also their leaders who recruited them to the Palestinian club and ask them tough questions. Now here's the thing. Go back to the storyline. When I say I as a commander, as an Arab, was a commander over Jewish soldiers in the IDF, usually one of the anti-Israelis says the next sentence. Yoseph, I just want to tell you that you're an idiot because the Jews are using you, and the second you are a liability to them, they're gonna throw you to the garbage. Now hold on. At that moment, once he's done with the sentence, you would see the anti-Israelis cheering and clapping and like, oh, you showed him. And you would see the pro-Israelis are absolutely angry of that sentence, kind of like what happened now. And the reason is because they know it's not true. But I also look at the 50-50 and I see that they're very, very curious to see what I'm going to answer, where I'm going to take that. And so I look at them and I say, it's funny. Because based on their theory, not only the Jews had the opportunity to kick me, but in fact, I endangered their life. Complete silence. And on purpose, I pause. I pause. And then I start talking about why I'm saying that, according to that piece, that the Jews had the opportunity to throw into the garbage, but in fact, I actually endangered their life. I'm speaking about the war in 2006. I was inside Lebanon, participating in that war. In that war, I lost 7 of my friends. I lost 3 of my commanders, including my commander Wakeline, who jumped on a grenade to save us on the crew. I lost 1 of my soldiers. And 4 days before ceasefire, on 10th of October, August 2006, I was injured badly myself. We were doing a rescue mission. We finished the rescue mission very successfully, going back to the shelter in Binjbil, which is a village in the south of Lebanon, and Hezbollah ambushed us. And they decided to launch an anti-tank missile at me, and I wasn't in a tank, I was walking. My luck is that the missile did not hit me, otherwise I would be in thousands of pieces. But the missile passed me and hit a wall that was close to me, plus minus from this range. From the explosion, I flew in the air and landed on my belly. I really, really realized immediately that I was injured very badly. I felt blood all over my face, pain all over my body, but I did not realize how badly the injury was until I turned on my back and trying to get up. And then I saw that my foot was cut off. I see a couple of people here walking around. Let me give you the best story here. The best doctors, as I said, in Area Hospital, Arabs and Jews, not only they managed to reattach my own foot, but beside a couple of shrapnels, I have nothing. I walk, and from time to time, I play football as well. That's why, clap for our doctors. They deserve it.